Not Phil, I'll come to that in a minute. Patrick says the KCOM Stadium in Hull is completely soulless, even for a derby against Rovers. I think I've worked out who Patrick supports there. Gary misses Fartown, the Willows and Watersheddings. I miss the Willows. Joel says it was a dump. Went all the way to the Willows. All the way to the Willows. It's like
and a great chippy just outside the Willows.
Going to Belgrade is the Willows. To see Scully play for Leeds, what a dump that was. I didn't think it was a dump. I liked the Willows.
Look, it had character. I'm not saying it was the greatest thing in the world.
Smallest professional dressing room you ever went in?
Yeah, the worst, to be honest with you. The shape of it, you had to be honest with you.
What, even worse than Cass?
Yeah, because at Salford, to be comfortable, you had to be size of Phil 2'6". But if you're anything over 2'6", then you had to bend down, Mark, because it was like that, the level. So you had to crouch down. So, but as far as the playing surface was, lovely and flat, lovely and wide, and this sort of great place. I used to love playing at Salford. Used to love playing there, but facilities the worst. But certainly from a player's point of view, they only had 2 showers and all this sort of thing from there. But as far as playing on the ground itself, really enjoyed it. And the good atmosphere, great atmosphere as well.
While we're on Salford, Dr. Kukash has written off all his debt.
So we never have to speak about him again.
But he has asked all the other people that have debt to write it off as well. So how far that takes them, I'm not sure.
Interesting. Interesting.
How are we going to deal with a sport without Dr. Marwan Kukash?
Well, there you go.
So much money in.
Won't be long, He'll be back.
Ask Gary about the watersheddings. See, Gary. Did you enjoy the watersheddings?
Well, playing on a Wednesday night with Hull is the most coldest night I've ever had. The players literally
and that was
in the showers after we had to get in our kit because it was that cold, and we were literally tears coming out of our eyes because his fingers, were burned because of that cold, with hot showers. But no, the watersheddings, to be honest with you, was a dump. The dressing rooms, you had to walk through the crowd as well, so you got plenty of rubbish from the crowd as well. And then the dressing rooms were in the old stand where at half time we had to go rather than going to walking back from there. So yeah, to be honest with you, the watersheddings was a dump. It was, but the coldest place on a Wednesday night ever to play Rugby League. Absolute nightmare.
Can you believe people are watching the programme tonight when we've got pretty much no Rugby League to talk about?
Oh, we've got plenty to talk about. Don't worry about
we haven't mentioned the one game.
No, we haven't. Oh, that's still to come. Chris has said, if we don't want to see empty seats, why have the RFL picked 8 stadiums for the 2021 World Cup with capacities of 50,000 plus? It's not the RFL, for a start. And B, I think I'm on message here, Chris, by saying they wanted to make it an event. Yeah. They're not selling it to Rugby League
people. If we
people
can't sell out in 3 years 8 stadiums with that sort of capacity, then we may as well stop pretending.
Has it been
we're bigger than we are?
Not yet, no.
Right.
January gets an out.
They're not selling it to us. They're not selling the Rugby League World Cup to Rugby League people. They want to sell it to people who want to go watch sporting events.
But what we do need to do is we need Rugby League fans to say, look, I'm going to buy a ticket, I'm going to highlight my sport and make it look great on the telly. We've almost all got a bit of we've all got a role to play, haven't we?
We have to get behind the World Cup.
If we go and make it fit and make it sell out.
And it's not like we have to do it because it's an obligation. It will be fantastic.
No, it will.
The 2013 World Cup was superb. And the plans that they've already unveiled about having rolling Rugby League for 5 weeks for the women's and wheelchair game to kick in about the quarter-final stage of the men, it actually looks and already feels like a big tournament that deserves support.
It's funny what happens when you plan.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? You'll be able to buy tickets
and get everyone involved
2 years before.
Yeah.
And how great was it to see the Rugby League World Cup, the newly refurbished exciting trophy, on, I think, the biggest radio show in the country last week.
Yeah.
Well, I say see, obviously hear it, but pictures and stuff. It's not difficult.
No.
It's not difficult.
Not
if you've got something to sell, people will buy into it.
If you've got a story,
yeah,
media want to know.
Very good.
Well, unless it's Tommy Makinson winning the Golden Boot. But
come on, now. So I want to know on Twitter at Forty20 Live your favourite and least favourite grounds, the one you always look forward to going to, the one you least look forward to going to. Let us know and why. And it's not just the bashing, Castleford and Wakefield's rubbish. Let's be fair, if you're not in the corporate heading or in the shiny new stands and you're still on that Western Terrace and it's chucking it down, you might as well be at Bellevue. Let's be fair about that.
And the Sheffield and Toronto fans can get a new venue next year with potentially playing in Belgrade.
Very good.
It's exciting.
Very good. We're looking forward to that.
Sheffield are pioneers of this thing. Paris, Belgrade.
Again, taking the sport to new markets.
Ban Toronto. Speaking of Toronto, do you want to talk about Toronto now? Or?
No, you crack on.
Well,
it's almost like this show, there's no script.
Well, there's no script, yeah. I don't know how we do it. You know Nicholas, our Toronto
yes.
friend? He sent me a message earlier, so I'm trying to get onto it on my thing. But he's obviously in Toronto, and he's not overly happy. Because he says, Brian McDermott has said that the way to build a Toronto fan base is to have a successful winning team. We respect that is completely irrelevant if your team doesn't have home games. We've been told there might be only 9 or 10 games in Toronto this season, extra matches in England. Seems like coals for Newcastle, in one case quite literally. Very, very disappointed.
I had an interchange with Nicholas on Twitter, and he kept coming up with great answers to questions. And it's like, I said, Nicholas, I can tell you're new to rugby league, because you're coming up with things that should happen, that don't happen. I said, don't worry, we'll beat that optimism out of you. Don't worry, it'll go. We'll give it a year, it'll have gone. They want to support their own team. They want one of the big success stories we keep getting told is the fact that they're getting 7,000 people. So why do we not want them to play at home? Are we that frightened, right, that if they're on the road for 8 weeks but then they have 8 home games, that's a big disadvantage to them? I don't see the problem with it myself.
No, I don't.
I really don't. And I think there's been some people who said, well, hang on, we probably could play a little bit earlier, actually, because it is cold, granted, but it's not like -20, it might be 4 degrees. Well, you got a battle on in January. It's
welcome to Boxing Day.
Yeah, it's going to be less than that. So, I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Should we just seal up the rain? And if they've got to play 8 home games out of 10 at home, then that's how it's going to be.
I agree. Yeah, no doubt about it. Because the opposition who are playing, they're only going there once. It's not as if So no, I don't see an issue with it whatsoever.
I mean, you know American football a lot better than I do. But any team that they get 8 home games in the regular season. Yeah. So teams that are bringing matches to London. Again, that's an even bigger disadvantage proportionately for a spectator. But it seems to benefit the game as a whole. It seems to promote the game to new markets. As long as the Toronto matches are televised, I think that's the important thing. And it gets back again, no doubt we'll talk about who's going to film the championship this year. But I think no Toronto fan should be disenfranchised from watching their team. And if that means that they're going to take a game to Belgrade, Nicholas should be able to watch it in Toronto. That has to be part of the deal, I would have said.
Right. Okay.
Some wonderful messages about favourite grounds and why people don't like them. Dean, best ground Bellevue, home of Rugby League, it is Dean. Worst ground, Rochdale, got my car nicked from the car park. Paddy, Craven Park, Orford Stadium, away fans are miles away.
I once went to Craven Park, right, and I had to go in the open end.
But by the way, there's 2 Craven Parks, one in Barrow, one at OKR. So are you talking about OKR or Barrow?
I'm talking about OKR. Okay. But I'm talking about, they built that nice, is it the Colin Hutton stand behind it, a beautiful stand. When they were rebuilding that, they had like this temporary thing. I went in there, that was lively. I tell you, Castle playing OKR, I went in there, it was lively. But one year when I went to watch the Bulls, I had to stand in the other end. It was like being at Oxford, but being on the floor. I'm like, where's the ball?
You almost stood on the edge of the North Sea, weren't you?
Well, yeah, in the Humber, yeah. Tide came in and we're getting a bit wet.
But, oh, sorry.
Look, the one thing I would say about OKR is every time you go, it looks like they're improving the ground, and I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Giles misses Tattersfield, a walk across a series of pontoon bridges to avoid the mud around the ground. This, of course, is Tattersfield in front of us.
This table of tat actually is getting quite good now, as in we've got some actual memorabilia on the
building work here, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Is that right? Okay.
We're all gonna be wearing,
it's salvage.
Next week we're all wearing. Next week we're all wearing Leeds Blazers.
Yeah, that could be it. We could all get one. If we get one that fits,
we can all pretend to be members of the board of directors. Yeah, Zach's going.
Hey, listen, lads, I tell you, you put one of them on, it'll get you into places. I'll tell you.
We can recreate the meeting where Scully goes up and says, "Get rid of Dougie Lawson." Hang on, write that down, we'll use it on the Christmas special. Peter says, the Boulevard, got food poisoning from a cheeseburger, nasty place.
I went to the Boulevard once and it was frightening. I tell you, it was that day when McNamara booted the ball into the fans that were below him on the pitch. They went mental. And you might have known this better than I, Scully, but when the Bulls went down the tunnel, the spit and everything, it was disgusting.
I know all about that. Sometimes there's a whole play as well. Don't worry about that. I know all about that. But moving the show with the Boulevard, certainly when you had the black and white jersey on, they were worth 10 or 12 points to you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just the atmosphere what they created and getting behind you, and I say that the stick what they give the opposition. Yeah, we're worth 10 or 12 points. A bit more. This
is a real throwback shirt. They've got British Coal Great Britain away shirt because of course Great Britain needed an away shirt in the 90s. And even though you can't see what I've got in front of me, I've got a Rugby League Week State of Origin special which on the back is a big advert for cigarettes, which you don't get anymore in rugby league. But Rickson has asked, in North America, players still use tobacco like chew and snuff. Have any tobacco products been used or still being used in rugby league? Must be a few. I mean, well, in the old days of the Regal Trophy and Silk Pit, you must have got a few free cigs given out to you.
The media did.
Yeah, the
press box was full of
when the Challenge Cup there, Phil Ford, you couldn't get anywhere near him because there were a couple of lads who smoked. St Leeds Ford.
Carl Gibson.
Yeah, Carl Gibson, Phil Ford, Craig Innes. He was a big smoker. Dave Stevenson. Yeah, when the Challenge Cup came around, they're all like that. Hey, listen, lads, you know you don't smoke. We'll have these fags. Yeah.
I bet they did speak like that as well. Rugby boys.
Two sleeves of fags coming in and 2 bottles of sherry. Great days.
So there you go, Rickson. I'm sure there probably will be some professionals today who still smoke.
Well, it's funny because I covered Leeds United, and once you wait for the press conference, and 2 of the lads walked past like in the shorts, not also not where you going. At the end of the ground having a, because you can't smoke in the ground. We had to leave the ground, stood outside the ground having a cigarette. That was bizarre. Professional footballers.
I know. Well, Zinedine Zidane, famously.
Yeah.
Johan Cruyff, he was a massive smoker.
Lewis Jones, who apparently stubbed out his cigarette as he ran on the field at Henry.
The good old days. Bring them back.
In fact, I think Ken Dolby, who was the manager of the team, was mandated that when half-time whistle went, he had 2 on the go, one for Jeff Stevenson and one for Lewis Jones.
He was the best one in our old Mick Crane because coming back into Crane's career, you know, with the Kangaroos in '82, they spot the game, haven't they? You know, with the warm-ups and all this sort of
Spot the game with all that, fitness.
You can't go. What the hell are they doing?
All that speed and skill and fitness.
So when you talk about smoking, Mick Crane was a smoker. He'd be smoking before the game, and the warm-ups came in and. It was around about half an hour before the kick-off, and Mick still got his gear on, because it's freezing cold, so he still got his gear on, and he normally got changed about 20 minutes before. Anyway, so he's having a fag, and so Arthur Bunton, the great man Arthur, he just said, "Come on, Mick, we're getting ready to warm up." He went, Arthur, why do you think I'm sat next to the radiator? I'm nicely warmed up as it is. I'll see the lads when they come back in. Brilliant. The dressing room just exploded with laughter. But that's what a character what it was. But yeah, Mick Crane, he warmed up with about 5 beds and eggs. He sat next to the radiator.
I should say, don't smoke.
We're not endorsing it. We're not endorsing it.
Gamble responsibly and drink in moderation. I think that covers everything off. Elsewhere, Jay likes Cass, old-fashioned rugby league ground, on top of the pitch. You can't get any close to the players. Worst ground, Bellevue. Crap view, unless you're 7'3". No. Elsewhere, David says, favourite ground, the water sheddings, least favourite, Old Trafford. Tiny seats, no leg for him. He sent us a picture of the old water sheddings there.
Fair dues. Keep your tweets coming in at 40.
Has anyone mentioned Wildersport? Because in terms
a couple of people have mentioned.
I was saying, in terms of away followings, that was as intimidating as the Boulevard, because you had to go through the narrow housing estate at the front, and then you emerged at the ground. Again, that would have been 10, 12 points for the home team. The zoo at Wildersport.
Central Park was the same as well. Central Park. That was the same. That was very, very intimidating. You come through that alleyway from there, and the Wigan fans would be over there looking over and waving, and
Did you ever play at Odsal when you had the dressing rooms at the top of the hill, and you had to walk? You had to come out 20 minutes before kick-off just to walk through the crowd to get to the bottom.
Iconic Odsal Stadium.
Nightmare.
Not home of the Summer Bash.